Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today is Sunday. By the time I upload this video, I think it'll be on Monday. But nonetheless, I hope you're having a great day. As you can tell, I'm sort of dressed up in my typical suit attire. Went to church, so that's kind of why I guess I really did dress up. But you know me, I love dressing up. So anyway, in today's video, I wanted to talk about something that I don't think I have really talked about a lot. I don't think in fact, I've really shared a lot of this in terms of content-wise on social media. But today I want to talk to you about a movie that I saw a couple days ago, and it completely blew me away. I think this movie is one of those rare movies that, 10 years down the road, 20 years, it's going to be a movie that people are still going to look back and say, that was a masterpiece. Now, what movie am I talking about? Well, this is the movie called Roma, and it came out, I believe, in select theaters last November in 2018, and then it officially, I think, released mainly on Netflix, I think last December. And I got a chance to see it the other weekend, and let me tell you, I was completely, like, this movie, it has it all. And by the way, this is a spoiler-free sort of discussion and review of the movie, but I highly encourage you to see it if you have not already. And if you have seen the movie Roma, I think you'll sort of pick up on some of the points that I'm mentioning throughout this video. But again, spoiler-free, so yeah, basically Roma is a movie. It's shot completely in black and white, and I believe it's on a 65mm lens, and it's directed by a man named Alfonso Cuarón. Now, if you haven't heard of him, well, he's up and coming, but he's probably one of the great directors of our time. I really mean that. I think he's definitely up there with the likes of Steven Spielberg, Denis Villeneuve, Emmanuel Lubensky. He's certainly someone that has created his own narrative. He has certainly found his craft. He's found his voice in filmmaking. And I believe he directed a couple other movies. I'm trying to think. Oh, he directed the third movie of the Harry Potter series, Prisoner of Azkaban. And I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I do remember that was a movie in the Harry Potter series where it really, the tone of just the entire world of Harry Potter, it felt completely different. I don't know if that was the case for you, but I remember, like, the third movie, it became much more serious. And I should probably go back and watch that movie to see the camera work and see how he did it. But there's some really, I think, brilliant stuff that he did with that movie. He also directed the movie Gravity. Came out, I think, 2013, maybe somewhere around then. And I think that was actually a fantastic movie. I know some people were sort of not a huge fan of it, but I thought the direction that he did with the movie and with the actress of Sandra Bullock, I think that was honestly phenomenal. And I'm sure he's done a couple other movies. I'm just can't remember on the top of my head. But the movie today that I really want to talk about is Roma. So getting back to it, it's shot pretty much in black and white, and it sort of follows along this maid, I think in like Mexico City during the 1970s, and it's a quiet movie. It's a slow movie. This is a movie that, if you allow yourself to listen and to be patient with, I think you will be greatly rewarded, because I certainly was upon watching it a second time. And I made the stupid mistake of not watching it 100% the first time, and that's something that after I remember this, right after when the first time I saw it, as the credits were rolling, I thought to myself, oh, like, I need to see this again, and I need to be 100% focused, because the first time that I saw it, I was kind of on my phone every now and then, and I was watching this in one of my friend's dorm. I was using his Netflix account, and he knows, so it's all good. But you know, I was sort of on my phone, and I guess what was going through my head was, okay, I'll watch the movie once it sort of picks up, you know, it's that sort of thing. Because right now it's kind of just passively just showing something, and I can just sort of do two things at once. Well, like I said, that was a pretty dumb mistake, because I think I missed out on some of those just moments of, cinema masterpiece at hand. So I guess what I can say to that is, you know, please see this movie, because I think it's a masterpiece. And when you do, I encourage you not to have any distractions near you. You know, if that's a phone, if that's, you know, watch it by yourself, I think you'll actually enjoy it much more and get much more out of it. But yeah, that was the mistake I made. But, you know, what I can tell you is that this movie is, it's poetry. It is, just watching it, and you know, thinking back of, you know, the scenes, it's the way that Alfonso Cuarón, you know, goes from scene to scene, and there's some beautiful one takes, specifically towards the end of the film, which, again, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but it's the scene at the beach, and that's all I'll say. But that scene alone is like, it left me completely, like, speechless. I honestly was just, like, completely blown away, you know, when I was watching that scene. I was just like, wow, like, if that isn't, you know, if that isn't, you know, the human condition right there, then I don't know what is. But yeah, that was an amazing scene. And really, the whole movie, like I said, it's a slow-paced movie. There are a couple of scenes that do build up into something, and I think overall the movie does understand, you know, its slowness of pacing, but I think it uses it to its advantage, because that, I think, is what the director, I think, is wanting to share. That's what he's wanting to communicate. You know, it's not, you know, this is not a movie about, you know, there's not a lot of action. This is not, you know, there is dialogue, but it's not. That's not what is sort of propelling this movie forward. You know, what is propelling the movie forward is the experience that the audience and the viewer has. As the movie progresses, you start to understand, you start to live out, you start to experience what some of these characters are sort of going through in their daily lives. And you begin to empathize with them. You begin to understand, and you can sort of look at the individual, and then you can understand the backdrop, you know, in terms of, like, the societal and the bigger cultural sort of aspects going on. I think this movie beautifully combines these two aspects, you know, with the individual life as well as the larger social context. I just think it's done in such a beautiful way. And this is a movie, you know, like I said, again, it's a slow movie, so don't expect, you know, don't go into it, you know, thinking that, oh, this is going to be some sort of, you know, completely, you know, bigger than life sort of, you know, amazing sort of triumphant sort of movie. No, this is, if anything, it's the exact opposite. This is very introspective. It's very reflective of the human life, of someone's life and what they might go through on a daily basis. And it's shown in such a beautiful way that I honestly think that this is one of the greatest films I think I have ever seen in recent memory. My favorite movie of all time is the movie Moonlight, which won Best Picture in 2016. And that movie, I think, you know, that was one of the other movies that I sort of was thinking about as I was watching this film, and it was just like, I was thinking, like, wow, this movie Roma is just it's completely on a different level in terms of the films that we see today. I think, you know, one of the trends that we see today is we see a lot of movies, they don't feel complete. I get the feeling that some of these studios, especially in Hollywood and higher up, they sort of make movies with this sort of trilogy or sort of universe in mind, where they're sort of building up a series of characters or stories, and the way they do that is they might make 3 movies, or they might branch out and expand upon a certain movie. And while I do appreciate that, for example, like the Marvel movies, I think that it's a trend that has become a little bit too overused, to the point that I feel like some movies today, they don't really feel like a complete movie in and of itself. If you watch just that single movie, taken out of context from other movies, if you just look at that movie alone, it just doesn't feel like a complete story. And I feel like with this movie, Roma, you know the full story by the end of the movie. You walk with it, you experience it through watching the character. And if I haven't mentioned this already, the main character is this maid who sort of attends to this family, and really for most of the movie, it sort of follows along sort of her typical life and things that she experiences, moments of happiness and relief and peace, and also moments of betrayal and loss and grief and death. I mean, honestly, this movie, like, it tells it all, and it tells it in a way that is just so beautiful. I mean, really, I don't think words can describe the sort of reaction and experience that I had when I was watching this film, and hopefully that may be the case for you when you see it. And so yeah, I think that this is, and this is not a movie that, it is Oscar season, and obviously it has garnered up a lot of nominations, but just hear me out. This is not like an Oscar bait movie per se. I really believe that this is one of those great movies of our time, that, like I said again, I think 10 years, 20 years down the road, people are going to look back and say, this is why we still make films, because it can communicate something that nothing else can. It can communicate the human story and the human condition in such a way that, it doesn't really matter sort of your background, because there is a universal and innate sort of truth to and a desire for humans to express and to communicate. And I think that this movie 100% does that, and again, does it in such a beautiful way that you just, every scene, honestly, just, it feels like you're a fly on the wall. And it looks breathless. It looks beautiful. The way, the shades of gray and black and white, just the way, the whole compositional and the technique is there, but the technique is so good that you sort of wonder, how they were able to achieve some of the shots and scenes. Just the opening scene alone tells you so much about what the movie is about. I mean, it's really stunning how Alfonso Cuarón was able to capture so much and to communicate that on a screen. And it's really, honestly, I'd say, well done to him, because he has made, I think, one of the greatest films of our time. That's my opinion, and I'm not a movie critic expert. I'm honestly just a regular moviegoer who likes certain movies and doesn't, and has his opinions. And I'm just sharing you with my experience, and I wanted to share this with you because movies and film and making videos, that's something that is a really strong passion of mine. And doing these sort of college vlogs, it's I have realized and just appreciated more of people who make films, and who at least have the courage to make a film that talks about such universal truths, such as the human condition and about our desire to feel loved and to communicate that. I think that's a very powerful thing. And the fact that Alfonso Cuarón is able to transmit that message onto the big screen, but tell it in a way that is very personal, but at the same time, you know, universal. I think that's the mark of a genius right there, and I think he's, you know, a genius. I think honestly, this film certainly proves that, if not from his past record of making films. But again, it's the movie Roma, and I believe it's still on. It should be on Netflix still, because I would love to see it a third time, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like each time I'm gonna see this movie, I'm gonna pick up more details. And so yeah, it should be on Netflix. So I highly recommend checking this movie out if you have not already. And in no way is this, you know, like a sponsored thing. This is honestly just from me. I just wanted to communicate my enthusiasm for this movie to you. And I'm curious, yeah, if you have seen the movie, or, you know, after you see the movie, I would love if you would, you know, send me a message, or, you know, let me know what your thoughts were about the movie. I love talking about movies, I really do. And that's something that I'm going to be sharing more and more about on, you know, with these videos specifically, is just, you know, sort of my passion for movies, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, filmmaking and movies is a way of, you know, is a way that people can express themselves. And I have a great admiration and respect for people in the movie making business. You know, even if it's amateur-like, the fact that people still are making films and making videos, you know, just, it means that there's always another story to tell. Doesn't have to be about you necessarily, but there's always another story to tell in this world. And I think that we live in a day of age where I think that's very important, that we can tell our own voice, and we can speak up for that, and we can be open and honest about that. So anyway, again, that's the movie Roma, and I think you're really gonna like it. I certainly have, and so yeah, hope you enjoy that movie. And that wraps up this video. I'm gonna get back to practicing, but go see Roma.